This is Top 30. 30 stories in 30 minutes. Millions of us use Google search, but now the company has revealed what we use it for. The team at Google News Lab says they noticed that since 2004, search terms beginning with the words "how to" have increased by 140%. So the company teamed up with an illustrator to create a site named for one of its top searches, "How to Fix a Toilet." The data reveals that we're asking Google for answers that we might have once looked for in books or from our peers. People want to know how to fix their living spaces, doors, washing machines and fridges were among the most popular. We also asked Google more difficult questions. Love advice like how to kiss and how to get pregnant was popular. Many asked Google how to be happy. And the number one how-to search worldwide, how to tie a tie. It's a very 21st century way to understand how people live and what they need help with.
Before it closed in 2013, former women's prison Bayview Correctional Facility was a cultural eyesore and reminder of the ways the system has failed society at large. But instead of trying to erase it from memory, local activists are trying to convert it into a symbol of hope and inspiration. They're calling it the Women's Building. Pamela Schiffman, executive director of the Novo Foundation, says the building will be used to fight the systemic oppression that lands women in jail in the first place. According to Teen Vogue, Schiffman says, this project will transform a site of women's confinement and oppression and pain into a space dedicated to equality, liberation, and justice for all girls and women everywhere. By 2022, the Women's Building would be transformed into a community space to foster change, giving women who've been in the system a second chance.
Homeowners are increasingly deciding to renovate their current homes instead of trading up for a bigger house. According to Harvard University's Joint Center for Housing Studies, spending on renovations is expected to grow 7.7% annually in 2018, compared with 6.4% in 2017. But despite a growing economy and rising house prices, US homeowners' mobility rate is stuck at a 30-year low. The issue isn't selling their current house, it is buying a new one. There is a low inventory of houses on the market, and home prices have risen to records in certain markets. In turn, baby boomers aren't choosing to move out of their dream home and into condominiums and retirement communities. The result is that renters are finding it difficult to enter the housing market. So it looks like renters may be out of luck. Current homeowners, meanwhile, might be outgrowing their current home, but as a consolation, at least they can renovate their kitchen. The perks of having a service dog stretch beyond the service they're actually fulfilling for you. And it seems that some people are taking advantage by pretending that their dog is a service animal when in reality it's not. If you have a service dog, you can fly with them, you can rent apartments with anti-pet policies, and you can take them into restaurants and stores, things that every dog owner would like to do. Author Ali Wunderman notes the difference is that disabled people need these dogs to perform basic everyday tasks, whereas fakers are just selfish. In order to protect the privacy of those with disabilities who need the dogs, no one is allowed to question them about it, and this creates a loophole in which anyone can really claim or imply that their dog is a service animal. I think it's a rule of thumb in life, and call me old-fashioned, but don't make your dog complicit in your exploitation of disabled people's benefits.
We all know professional athletes make a lot of money, and many like to travel in the most expensive sports cars. But Dallas Cowboys running back Alfred Morris is not one of those guys. He still drives a 26-year-old Mazda 626 that he bought for $2. He sarcastically named the car Bentley after he got it from his pastor during his junior year in college at Florida Atlantic University. The car first made headlines after Morris got drafted in 2012 by Washington. The 6th-round pick drove it to practice and said it kept him grounded. He now says he's going to drive it until it dies. Mazda just refurbished the car, so who knows how long that'll be.
Here is your top 30 health roundup. America's top cancer doctors are asking Americans to drink less alcohol. It is the first time the American Society of Clinical Oncology has taken a stand on alcohol. They cited multiple studies linking even light drinking to an increase in breast cancer. Other research says heavy drinkers face a higher risk of mouth, throat, and liver cancer. The lead author of the statement says the message is not don't drink. It's if you want to reduce your cancer risk, drink less. And if you don't drink, don't start. In our next story, doctors have saved the life of a 7-year-old boy using gene therapy. Much of his skin had been destroyed by a disease called epidermolysis bullosa. Defective genes cause fragile skin that blisters and can develop cancer. Doctors planned to keep the child comfortable until he died. His parents begged them to keep trying. Physicians used a virus to carry a corrected version of the child's DNA into his skin cells. Then they grew grafts of the genetically engineered skin, which the child received on 80% of his body. He's now healthy, back at school, and even playing soccer. And finally, more than 2 million Americans are addicted to powerful opioid painkillers. Some researchers now say that over-the-counter medications could be just as effective at reducing pain. A study looked at adults with fractured or sprained arms and legs in 2 New York City emergency rooms. All were given acetaminophen, the main ingredient in Tylenol, as well as either ibuprofen or an opioid. Both reported the drugs improved their pain by about the same amount. Experts say more research is needed as the study only looked at short-term pain and researchers didn't check on the patients after they left the hospital. New research claims sleeping in separate beds can actually be good for your relationship. A National Sleep Foundation poll found that nearly 1 in 4 couples sleep in separate beds. A sleep physician at the American Sleep Association says sleeping in separate beds, while not very romantic, does offer some potential benefits to sleepers, especially if one of the bed partners is disruptive. Specialists note that sleeping in separate beds doesn't always mean there are intimacy issues within the relationship. In fact, sometimes it helps. A bad night's sleep can lead to miscommunication and lack of consideration for your partner. But Dr. Jeffrey Dermer of Fusion Health says it's not necessarily a long-term solution.
Sometimes it can feel impossible to climb the corporate ladder and land that coveted promotion. But there are ways you can position yourself to land a stretch job and achieve your career goals. A stretch job is an assignment that you don't necessarily have all the qualifications for up front. It's a challenge, but it helps you grow and expand in your field of choice. Claudio Fernandez Arreos, an executive fellow at Harvard Business School, offered some advice to help you land that stretch assignment. 1, make sure you're ready for it. Check in with yourself and see if you really are ready to assume more responsibility and longer hours. 2, figure out if it's the right opportunity. Not all jobs are created equal. It tends to be easier to land a stretch job within an organization than switching to a completely different company. 3, use mentors to your advantage. Identify a superior who can advocate for you and put you forward for job opportunities. Follow those steps and that promotion might be right around the corner.
Looted antiquities are increasingly popping up on online platforms like Amazon, eBay, and Facebook, and their sellers are duping amateur art collectors. Buyers could unknowingly be funding the Islamic State and other terrorist organizations. In a July report, the European Commission said ISIL has been exploiting the potential of social media more and more frequently so as to cut out the middleman and sell artifacts directly to buyers. After the start of the Syrian civil war in 2011, Syrian artifacts and coins began to flood online platforms as terrorist organizations became more active in the region. Neil Brodie, a senior research fellow in endangered archaeology at the University of Oxford, told the Wall Street Journal at least 100,000 antiquities are for sale online at a total value of more than $10 million. Brodie estimates 80% of the objects are either stolen or fake. So instead of buying ancient artifacts, maybe just look at them in a museum.
Bare ankles are having a fashion moment, and that means many people are foregoing socks when they slip on their flats and loafers. But not wearing socks could end up hurting you. According to the College of Podiatry, you're at a greater risk of developing a fungal infection like athlete's foot if you don't wear socks. This is largely due to the combination of sweat and constricting shoe materials, which creates a ripe environment for bacteria to fester. And podiatrist Emma Stevenson told The Telegraph that certain shoe styles like pointed toe flats may contribute to ingrown toenails and bunions. Some ways to guard against infection are to spray your shoes with antiperspirant and thoroughly wash your feet after a day of going sockless. So while it may not be fashion forward, you may want to stick to wearing those socks.
Norwegian architecture firm Nohetta wants to invite you to dinner under the sea. Europe's first underwater restaurant, aptly named Under, will have 3 levels: the wardrobe area, champagne bar, and dining room. According to CNN, Under's lead architect, Rune Grasdal, said one of the benefits of this building is how it links nature and land, and how you can come safe from the land and in a very dramatic way go down through this concrete tube to the nature at sea level and experience what normally is not experienced. The seafood restaurant will be located 16 feet below sea level on the southernmost point of the Norwegian coastline. Once inside, you'll be able to dine on a variety of underwater fare, including lobster and scallops. Under will launch in 2019, and when it does, it will double as a research center for marine life.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 2 Detroit, a construction program is providing new opportunities for teens and adults. Thanks to a recent investment from the City of Detroit, Detroit Public Schools, and local businesses, Randolph Technical Education Center provides free classes in construction, electricity, plumbing, and more. Not only does it prepare students for good-paying jobs, but it also supplies employers with a prepared workforce during Detroit's construction boom.
It sends a message that you're important and that we care about giving you the best opportunities possible.
In our second story from Fox 4 Dallas, Jan Phelps, also known as the Book Lady, has volunteered for the Allen Public Library for 4 years. She oversees the Hallway Bookstore, which sells gently used books, magazines, and DVDs at a steep discount. All items are between 25 cents and $3. The money generated from the sales helps bring speakers, authors, and artists to the library. Jan said her love of books runs deep.
My mother was a librarian, so I blame it all on her. So it got in my blood, I guess.
In our final story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, Dominique Martinez is the owner of Rustic Steel Creations, and his one-of-a-kind pieces of art decorate the Tampa landscape. The projects vary in size, ranging from small to huge, and he estimates he's made over 1,000 different sculptures. Dominique's designs adds a unique flavor to the Tampa area and can't be missed.
Retailers aren't just dealing with fewer customers, they are also struggling to find employees. The unemployment rate has hit a 16-year low. Fewer people looking for jobs combined with the rise of the gig economy means retailers are finding it difficult to fill positions. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average hourly wage at retail stores for an entry-level sales associate is $11.96 per hour. In comparison, the average hourly rate for an Uber driver is $14.76 an hour. And people higher up the corporate ladder are also feeling the squeeze. Facing pressure from Amazon, retail stores have cut wages and scrapped bonuses for store managers. Job insecurity in the retail business means fewer potential employees are applying. Stores are even scaling back the hiring of seasonal workers for the lucrative holiday season, meaning regular employees are expected to do more for the same pay. But once major retailers go out of business, they'll all be Uber drivers anyway.
When you're a kid, it feels like being popular is the most important thing in the world. But it turns out building close friendships is more important in the long run. Researchers say cultivating lifelong friendships brings higher self-confidence and lowers anxiety and depression. Cynthia Eardley, a professor of psychology at the University of Maine, said having one good friend is enough to protect against loneliness and to help bolster self-esteem and academic engagement. In fact, some tactics used to gain popularity are at odds odds with building meaningful friendships. For example, putting people down and spreading rumors to maintain social status. The Wall Street Journal offered some ways parents can help their children build the skills to form and maintain lifelong friendships. For one, build conversational skills. 2, help them pick up on social cues. And 3, practice forgiveness. So it's about time mean girls focus on meaningful relationships instead.
Researchers from Purdue University believe with the help of technology, people can achieve one of the most coveted superhuman abilities, the ability to read minds. Using a complex algorithm commonly used in the newest facial recognition technology, researchers can now read a scan of the brain and therefore your mind. The technology analyzes a detailed map of the human brain by translating and recreating MRI scans in real time to predict the synthesization of information even before it is viewed. Lead author of the research paper, doctoral student Haigawong Wen, said, "Using our technique, you may visualize the specific information represented by any brain location and screen through all the locations in the brain's visual cortex." They say by doing this, they have achieved the ability to truly figure out the way our brains process information, which may be a major turning point in our understanding of our own minds. Of course, humans would turn to something artificial to figure out what only takes a little human intuition to decipher.
What do Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, and Bill Gates all have in common? Besides all having enviable bank account statements, it turns out highly successful people share certain habits that set them up for success. A survey of 233 self-made millionaires conducted by financial planner Tom Corley found a pattern of daily practices that help successful people get the most out of each day. First, get up early and map out your day. Make a to-do list so you have a clear idea of everything that needs to be accomplished. Also, successful people are sure to carve out time for self-care. Often this takes the form of reading and exercise. Corley found 88% of self-made millionaires devote at least 30 minutes of every day to reading. 76% make aerobic exercise a daily habit as well. Lastly, be sure to sleep enough. Albert Einstein claimed he needed at least 10 hours of sleep to function at his best. Incorporate these habits into your life and you might become a millionaire yourself.
It turns out that your lifestyle choices can have a quantifiable effect on your life expectancy. A study from the University of Edinburgh looked at the genetic information of over 600,000 people. While they found that genetic predispositions to certain diseases, like coronary disease and diabetes, lowered life expectancy, lifestyle choices could affect lifespan as well. For example, every extra year spent learning translates to roughly an extra year added to your life. Also, lowering your BMI by 1 unit adds an additional 4 months. But smoking a pack of cigarettes a day decreases your lifespan by 7 years. The silver lining, those who give up smoking in enough time can eventually get back to the same life expectancy as those who never smoked. Somewhat undermining a quote I have lived my entire life by, giving up smoking and drinking doesn't make you live longer, it just feels like it.
When it comes to marital bliss, new research suggests there's more to it than meets the eye. A joint study by Florida State University and Southern Methodist University in Texas revealed that wives with husbands considered to be more attractive felt pressure to compensate by obsessing over exercise and diet. However, according to Esquire UK, another study by Florida State University suggests women with less attractive husbands were happier and felt more appreciated. The research found that husbands considered not traditionally handsome were more committed and more invested in pleasing their wives when they felt that they were getting a pretty good deal, making the woman they're married to happier in the process. So keep an open mind. That frog you're rejecting might actually be a prince.
At one time, the Valedictorian was a prestigious honor for the single highest achieving student in a graduating class, but many schools are phasing it out. Some people believe the idea behind crowning a single valedictorian promotes unhealthy competition. According to the Wall Street Journal, around half of states have done away with the title or instead name multiple students who've achieved a GPA of 4.0 or above. However, some people disagree. Deborah Morley, parent of a Exeter Union High School senior in California, said, "If everybody is called valedictorian, it doesn't mean anything."
Mindy Kaling may have titled her 2011 book, Is Everyone Hanging Out With Me? For good reason. A recent study found that we all think others have more friends than we do. Researchers surveyed over 1,000 first-year University of British Columbia students and asked them how many friends they had at school and how many friends they believed other students had. They found that most first-year students believed others had more friends and spent more time socializing than they did. The same students were surveyed again several months later to see if this mentality affected their ability to make friends. As study author Dr. Ashley Willens found, we think students are motivated to make more friends if they think their peers only have one or two more friends than they do. But if they feel like the gap is too big, it's almost as if they give up. So don't let your fear get in the way of new friendships. We all feel this way.
Thank you for watching. You can catch up with past episodes of Top 30 now on Hulu. You can also download the Top 30 mobile app and visit our website. We want to hear from you, so connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe to @Top30TV for interviews and exclusive web content. We will see you next time on Top 30.